It's the summer of 1697 in the tense Dutch village of Ryswick. Powerful men from across Europe arrive at the Nieuwburg Palace, not for celebration, but to negotiate peace. The 9 Years' War has ravaged the continent, leaving nations exhausted and desperate. French delegates, confident and resplendent, occupy one wing. The Grand Alliance, England, the Holy Roman Empire and the Dutch, gather in another, united against France but divided by their own agendas. Swedish mediator Niels Liljeroot shuttles between them, trying to bridge deep mistrust. Negotiations are tense. A single misstep could reignite war. The palace itself is a stage for this high-stakes drama, with separate entrances for each side, symbolizing their division. They refuse to meet face-to-face at first, relying on the mediator to carry messages. Progress is painfully slow, like a chess game, where every move is fraught with risk. The fate of Europe is being decided not on battlefields, but in these gilded rooms, where words are the only weapons. This isn't just about borders, it's about the future shape of Europe. Will France dominate, or will a new balance of power emerge? The negotiators are weary, their countries bankrupt, and their people starving. Failure isn't an option, but old hatreds and memories of war haunt every discussion. The talks drag on through the sweltering summer, a war of wills as fierce as any fought with swords. Every glance, every whisper could tip the scales. The world waits, holding its breath. Why was peace so urgent? The 9 Years' War had devastated Europe since 1688. From Flanders to Italy, Ireland to North America, entire regions were destroyed. The French devastation of the Palatinate left towns in ashes and thousands homeless. Economies collapsed, taxes soared and famine spread. France teetered on bankruptcy, and England created the Bank of England just to manage its war debt. Ordinary people suffered most. Hunger, poverty and fear became daily realities. Hundreds of thousands died, mostly from disease and starvation. A generation was lost, and the constant threat of violence made life unbearable. By 1697, all sides were exhausted, and the war had reached a stalemate. Louis XIV realized his ambitions were unattainable. The Grand Alliance couldn't defeat him outright. The cost of continuing was too high. Peace was now a necessity, not a choice. The leaders at Ryswick were answering a desperate continent-wide plea to end the bloodshed. At the center of the conflict stood Louis XIV, the Sun King. His vision expand France to its natural borders, especially the Rhine, and dominate Europe. He built Versailles as a symbol of power and led the largest army in Europe. His early victories alarmed his neighbors, uniting them against him. By Ryswick, Louis was older and war-weary. France was drained, and famine threatened rebellion. He now eyed the Spanish succession, hoping to secure his grandson's claim to the vast Spanish Empire. Louis arrived at Ryswick ready to compromise, offering to return most conquered lands, including Luxembourg. His goal: break up the Grand Alliance and secure recognition of his hold on Strasbourg. For Louis, Ryswick was a tactical retreat, a pause to regroup for the next diplomatic battle. He was willing to make concessions, but only to strengthen his position for the future. The Sun King's ambitions were far from extinguished. Opposing Louis was William III, Prince of Orange and King of England. For William, resisting France was both personal and ideological. He saw Louis as a threat to Protestant Europe and national independence. The Glorious Revolution made him King of England, bringing British power into the anti-French coalition. At Ryswick, William's priorities were security, a barrier of fortresses in the Spanish Netherlands, and recognition as England's legitimate king. He was pragmatic, knowing total victory was impossible. William drove the secret negotiations that broke the deadlock, willing to let France keep Strasbourg in exchange for his key objectives. For William, Ryswick was about securing his legacy and preparing for the next inevitable conflict. He saw peace as a foundation for a new European order. The third major player was Leopold I, Holy Roman Emperor. His sprawling empire was threatened by France in the west and the Ottomans in the east. Leopold wanted to reclaim lost lands, especially Strasbourg, but was stretched thin by war on two fronts. His allies, especially William, seemed too eager for peace, leaving Leopold isolated. As Prince Eugene neared victory against the Ottomans, Leopold faced a tough choice. Ultimately, he was forced to accept a peace he found unsatisfactory, signing last and reluctantly. The secret deal between William and Louis left him outmaneuvered. Ryswick secured his western border, but at the cost of his ambitions. For Leopold, it was a bitter compromise: peace in the west to focus on the Ottoman threat. The emperor's resentment would shape future alliances. By mid-1697, negotiations stalled until two soldiers met in secret. William Bentinck, Earl of Portland, and the Duke of Boufflers, a French marshal, began informal talks away from the palace. As men of action, they cut through diplomatic posturing. In 5 meetings, they crafted a compromise. France would return Luxembourg and Charleroi and recognize William as King of England. In return, William agreed France could keep Strasbourg, a major concession that angered Leopold. This back-channel deal broke the deadlock. The handshake between Portland and Boufflers sealed the core of the treaty. The main delegates were presented with a fait accompli. The path to peace was now clear, thanks to quiet, direct negotiation. Sometimes history turns on a private conversation, not a grand debate. The war's end was now within reach. The Treaty of Ryswick, signed in late 1697, was a series of agreements reflecting the secret deal. Louis XIV returned almost all territory conquered since 1679, including Lorraine and Luxembourg. William III was recognized as the legitimate King of England, ending French support for the exiled Stuarts. The Dutch gained the right to garrison fortresses in the Spanish Netherlands, the barrier they wanted. France kept Strasbourg, a strategic prize. The Grand Alliance was fractured. Louis had driven a wedge between his enemies. Emperor Leopold, forced to accept the treaty last, regained some lands but lost Strasbourg for good. Vienna felt betrayed, and the rivalry with France would continue. The treaty ended the war, but left many resentments simmering. The Treaty of Ryswick brought peace, but only briefly. Armies disbanded, taxes fell, and trade resumed. But everyone knew the peace was fragile. The war had established the principle of balance of power. No single nation should dominate Europe. Britain emerged as a key player, ready to counter French ambitions. The treaty left the Spanish succession unresolved. When Charles II of Spain died in 1700, Louis's grandson inherited the Spanish throne. This shattered the peace, triggering the War of the Spanish Succession in 1701. The new conflict was even longer and bloodier, yet Ryswick's legacy endured. The balance of power would shape European politics for centuries. Colonial and commercial interests now played a central role in diplomacy. Ryswick marked the shift from medieval dynastic wars to modern power politics. The old world was giving way to a new global order. The Treaty of Ryswick may seem distant, but its lessons remain vital. It shows that even the bitterest wars can end through negotiation, though peace is rarely perfect or permanent. The balance of power principle, born at Ryswick, still shapes global politics today. Modern alliances and institutions echo its legacy. The real breakthrough came through quiet, personal diplomacy, not public debate. Ryswick reminds us lasting peace requires addressing root causes, not just symptoms. Temporary truces are easy, true stability is much harder. As we face today's challenges, we must ask, are we building real peace or just another Ryswick?